Still Wakes to Deep, the new game from the Chinese Room, sees them return to the first-person narrative horror genre. But does it live up to their best, or does it get lost at sea? Let's find out. Hi everybody, my name is Warwick and welcome to Warwick Reviews, where we check out latest and greatest games and some indies and all bits in between there. I normally stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Warwick, but here you will find reviews of various games that I've liked and checked out. But if you are new here, thank you for being here, thank you for finding us, really appreciate it. If you want to give us a subscription, or if you would like to subscribe, appreciate that. And if you are back here, thanks so much for coming back. But today we're going to be checking out Still Wakes to Deep, which is a brand new game from the Chinese Room, the creators of Amnesia and Machine for Pigs. Everybody's gone to the Rapture and Dear Esther, and it finds them returning to the first-person narrative horror genre in this game. So what we're going to be doing, checking out the basics of the game, checking out the beginning part of it, checking out the settings, checking out all the bits and bobs about it, and letting you know my thoughts and feelings. So Still Wakes to Deep starts with this ominous sort of voice over, not sure who it is, if that's you or someone else, and camera slowly sort of pans into this massive oil rig, which is based in like 1970s Scotland. We're away from any type of civilization. It's literally just an open, dangerous sea in this massive oil rig. And we draw in our main character who we play as Kaz, and they are reading this letter from their wife. Kaz isn't doing very well. Things are sort of a bit rocky out there. And also it seems like that he's in a bit of trouble himself anyway. But this is where we start. We get straight into it. And basically this is sort of the main tutorial with any game. It learns the basics, learning about the mechanics of the game. So you start there, you can interact with stuff. There's like little icons around the area that you can interact with, and Kaz will react to them. Like he will go into a room that's like waterlogged and like dripping. It's like, oh, this place is, this place is falling apart. But this main part is basically establishing the world, who you are, what's going on, and you meet the characters and just sort of learn the feel of everything. I will say straight away, things look really good. Like they've done a great job. Like they've really created a stunning, realistic oil rig. Really kept it sort of to the part of the 1970s. Like there's done a few documents about the game and sort of saying that during the development they were adding things and realized those things weren't even invented yet. So they had to go back and make it as authentic as possible. For a lot of people, can seem quite archaic because it is 1970s, not as much technology out there as we have nowadays, unfortunately. So you are a cast, you meet the characters, sort of establishing what's going on. We're being called to the boss's room, which is all the way at the very top of the rig, because of course he's there, so you can watch everything over. And this is obviously good because it gets you learning mechanics about the jumping, about speed, about sort of looking behind you. There's a lot of things you can do, and it establishes everything that you need to know. And as you see, quite soon, things seem to be going a bit wrong. It's an oil rig. There's a lot of really hard things going on. Like the weather's really bad, like the horrible weather, like got the pulsating sea around you. It's grueling, it's messy, it's tough. But things aren't seem to be quite going well. So we're sort of basically being fired by our boss because of something we did. We're basically being escorted off the premises. But like some sort of like drilling issue or earthquake or something happens, and we see that it affects the rig, and we see one of our colleagues fall. We even fall as well. We do survive. We do sort of wake up. We're out for a while, and things suddenly seem to be going from bad to worse. Suddenly we're having to find our way anywhere, and doors aren't working. So we have to sort of traverse the landscapes. So sort of like skimming across walls and small ledges, jumping, trying to hold on, making sure we survive basically and get where we need to be. And as we're establishing through this world, we start seeing odd things, like really odd things, like an aura around you, like an ink block almost, sort of sometimes around your screen. You're like, what's going on here? And you start seeing these plant, like tentacle type things sort of in and around the environment. It seems like whatever they were drilling, they drilled into something that they shouldn't have drilled in and woken up something that was still within the deep. Hence the name, Still Wakes to Deep. So they've obviously woken up something deep inside that they shouldn't have done, and now it's sort of taken over, and it's our job to survive and try to save the people around us. So you've got this very much first-person narrative horror game, and it establishes this environment, this uneasiness from the very beginning. It feels very unique. It feels very sort of authentic. Like I've never personally been on a horror rig. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this probably haven't, but I know they did do a lot of research into how they work and environments, and it's tough. You know, can feel very isolated. You're away from literally civilization. You know, you've got this industrial sort of rusting metal around you. Everything's really damp all the time. I think it just feels very claustrophobic as well. And I think they really did a great job in bringing that to life in this game and using that as a horror backdrop to what's going around. And as you can see, like as we go through the game, we start learning that we need to sort of use our wits. So we have no weapons. There's no magical powers. We are literally just some guy called Kaz who's just trying to survive and just use what's available to him. So he's got a torch and his wits, basically, and his mouth. He's quite funny. The swears are plenty. And so there's elements where you have to do survive and try to keep outside of the enemies and use like different elements like hiding in like lockers or like cupboards. You can run. You can look behind you as you run. It just gives an extra element of that horror. Looking behind you as you run, it's just something just about that just really sort of, I love, but also hate. I will talk about the settings as well. So there's also a lot of settings you've got here, which is really cool to see. There's a lot of accessibility settings. So you've got your general here. So you've got general accessibility, video, audio control, keyboard and controller binding. So you've got a first bit general, which is basically pause when focus lost, show hints in game mode. So show hints is basically just whether you want hints available or not. So you can show them in game mode. So they recommend standard, which is the standard way to play it. So you've got sort of the story element, but also the horror element where the story will focus more on the story. It doesn't completely eliminate their enemies, but it will give you a lot more freedom since you can experience the story. And you got accessibility. So you got language. It is spoken English, but you have dialogue options for text. So you got English, you got UK English, you got Spanish, French, Italian, etc. But the really cool thing you see there is about halfway through is Scottish Gaelic. Really shows the depth and care they have in this game and this world. The fact is it is based on a Scottish oil rig. Characters are all Scottish, and so having this option for text for Scottish Gaelic is really cool. And as you can see at this example, you can see with the text showing with the Gaelic. Now, like I said, you've got subtitles and there's a lot of options here. And what's really cool about subtitles is a lot of times that you don't know how big or small things are. So it actually shows you the sizes of the subtitles. So it's like you can actually know what their version of small is or big is or extra large is. You can actually see how big it will be on screen. You got your fonts, a few different fonts you can change as well. You've got different settings on there. You've got interface, so you've got retina size. You've got your letterbox coloring as well. So there's letterboxes. There's a lot of accessibility in that option. You've also got colorblind options as well. So you've got colorblind mode, colorblind strength, high contrast mode, and flashing lights. Great to see an option for flashing lights. Shouldn't see that more often. Motion sickness, so you've got field of view, head bobs, head roll, and camera shake. Great options. I'm not a massive fan of bobble rolls or camera shake, really, because it depends on some games. Some can be quite extreme. I'm guessing on an oil rig, it'd probably be a bit more than usual. So you've got options there. You've got input types, so device inputs and reactions. So if you want a longer reaction time to something, you've got that option, and device inputs. So it can either do default, which is hold down a button. So when you're actually, you can hold it down, or you've got press only. So again, accessibility, great option there. You've got video, standard video. I'm playing on PC, so you've got options there. You've got motion blur, film grain. I did test out the film grain and the motion blur, so you can see the difference in there. So the film grain, does obviously put a film grain on it. Some people like it, some people don't. You can tell the difference there. It is obviously a lot cleaner without the film grain. And same with motion blur. You can tell the blur as you movement, but you can turn it off if you want. I actually kept it on for this playthrough. And then you've got various different settings for graphical and advanced graphics. So there's a lot you can change and tailor to how you want. And again, with all the options, there is like a little table to the right that explains exactly what these things mean. So you're not going in and going, I don't know what this is. Why am I changing this? So it actually explains what it does. So if you're having issues with stuff, it tells you what it does. Audio, you've got global, dialogue, music, sound effects, and breathing. I love this breathing volume because I'm sure people, especially in horror games, have played games and thought, can my character just stop breathing for 1 second? Or just stop being so loud with their breathing. So that was really cool to see. So I kept it all on just because, again, get the base experience, but it's good to have that option there and you can tailor things there. And what's really cool in the menu is actually examples. So when you change the dialogue or music or breathing, it will actually do examples of how it will sound. The audio is actually like a radio broadcast. So it's like, here's the weather the next day and stuff. So nice little feature there. Then you got dynamic range. You can change it like to how you want it. So again, the voices are there. So it changes like positioning. It changes like the range of it. So you can tailor it how you exactly want, basically how it sounds for you. Frequency. So if you have any issues with any low or high frequencies, you can actually have a cutoff for it. It is on an Aura, so there will be a lot of noises that will have frequencies. So having an option to cut off will help people with audio concerns or any discomfort. Then you got control. So you got controller hardware, so you can change it. So I play with a PlayStation controller. If you have a controller, you can change it to Xbox or PlayStation. I will say, and this is a bit of a bugbear of mine that I've noticed a few times, the fact is that it acknowledges a PlayStation controller, but doesn't change the interface of the buttons. I am playing a review copy, so this is before it's come out, so there might be a patch for it. I know the button layout anyway way, I know where buttons are on an Xbox controller, but it would have been nice to actually see the layout of the buttons change, like the bottom or the bottom sides and throughout the game as well. So that was a shame. Again, it might be coming in the patch. But anyway, you got like sprint and crouch, and also you can change the toggle or hold. You got your controller look sensitivity, basics stuff in your control basically. And then you've got your keyboard and controller bindings, and you can change both. So you've got loads of different things there. You can change the binding how you would like. I will say with the settings, for some reason, and again, this might be because it was a review version and it wasn't the final like retail version. But for this review, I like having subtitles on, and some examples that I had them on just so you can see the difference in the text and stuff. But for this review, I wanted them off just show off the game, and it would save my choice. So it would confirm it. You have to hold down a button to confirm it, and then it confirms again. So you definitely confirmed it until it goes to a next scene, and then it reloads the subtitles again. And I kept finding myself going back in the menu and finding the subtitles kept turned on. And I'm hoping it's just a bug, but hopefully when the main game comes out, it will stick. I didn't notice anything else. Any other settings changed. It was just subtitles. It just kept reappearing. But outside of that, I had a fantastic time with this game. It's such a good game. It's so fun. It's so tense. Like there was points throughout that I just felt uneasy, like straight away. Like again, you're on this old oil rig, middle of nowhere. You generally feel isolated from the world around you. Things are cut off, communications cut off. You feel trapped, you feel afraid, and it just feels so daunting, like you're this tiny thing in this huge sea. And then as it sort of goes into after the tutorial part, actually learn that's enemies sort of stalking you throughout the game, I generally felt really tense. Generally, like I felt some deep fear trying to survive. There was points where like I tried to go around someone, one of the enemies, and just ran it. Terrifying. It's like I didn't want to look back. I was like, no, I just keep going forward, just keep running, just hope for the best. And thankfully I was able to survive that. But I had a great time. It felt really good. It ran really well. It seemed like some graphical issues, like especially with like ropes or like sort of wires. It was going a bit too extreme at some points, but overall it handled really well. There seemed to be any drops or anything. And just I think Chinese Room's got a really good thing on their hands. I think this is a really good game. I think like the 6 hours, it's condensed, it doesn't overstay its welcome, it shows exactly what it wants to show, it creates a really cool story, a story that you invested in. Like one of the great things about this game is the voice acting is really good. Like the characters are really interesting. They feel like they've been living on this oil rig for a long time. They feel like they are part of this world. And yeah, just everything about it was really cool, especially if you like your horror. I think you cannot go wrong. And even if you don't, there is a story mode, so you can enjoy the story, which I think this game needs to be checked out by as many people as possible. And just I think you'll just have a really good time that you won't forget about for a while. But there we go. That was my review of Still Wakes to Deep. Thank you so much for watching. I genuinely really appreciate it. Again, my name is Warwick. I do reviews on this YouTube, Warwick Reviews. There's many reviews down below you can check out. And also I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Warwick. But thank you so much for watching. Please take care and don't get lost out at sea. Bye-bye.